This is the 213th Taiku. In the Babylonian Talmud, 213 was the area code. It is the area code of downtown Los Angeles, and it used to be the area code for all of Los Angeles, most of LA, even the Valley many years ago. But 213 also, I think 214 is the amount of years that the first Chabad Rebbe. It's published on the Chabad website that the Resh Zalman of Liadi passed away in 1812. So it was sold his so if it's 2026 minus 1812, so that's 214. So 214th yahrzeit, 214th anniversary of the passing of Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, of blessed memory, the first Rebbe, they call him the Alter Rebbe, or Admor HaZaken, one who authored the Tanya. And it was mentioned on Rabbi Wolf's website, in Mayan Israel, he was saying that it was the 213th yahrzeit, but I wasn't sure how that works out, because if he passed away in 1812 and now it's 2026, so that's 214 years. I don't know if you would see that you would subtract a year, but then I don't know. It seems like that's the amount of years since 1812. So I don't know if there was anyway. But anyway, back to this thing. This is the 213th Taiku in the Babylonian Talmud. According to the book by Rabbi Aharon Yeshua Pessin, it's in Tractate Zevachim 4b. And here we are. This is a very interesting Taiku. It's not a traditional Taiku. A Taiku is an unresolved question, and it's unanswered, and Taiku means, it's an acronym for Tishbi Taretz Kashios V'Avayos, which means Elijah the prophet will answer all questions and difficulties. But it's also, apparently, it means something. It's not just an acronym. The actual word means "let it stand," in Aramaic, possibly, or so that doesn't seem. I don't know what kind of Hebrew word that would derive from, but Taiku means "let it stand." Maybe it was made up from that. It's a word that was made up from the acronym. But in this case, in this particular Taiku, it's not actually an unresolved question. It's using the word Taiku as let it stand in its status. And you'll see what I mean. So I think it's very interesting that it's noteworthy. And there's a few, but when the rabbi who made this book, he set forth to catalog all the Taikus, I think he did it like, he didn't differentiate. It's just every single time the word Taiku appears. So it happens to be that this Taiku is not your traditional unresolved question. It just means let it stand in its status. It's not actually an unanswered question. So in truth, there might be less unanswered questions than originally thought, but there might be more as well, because some of the Taikus have multiple questions. It's not one Taiku per question. It could be one Taiku. One Taiku can be an unresolved status for, let's say, a series of 5 questions. So in this case, it's not a question at all. So you'll see. Let's go. Zevachim 4b, from the words ma haprat hameforash prat meforash avodah v'chayav le'eh b'chutz av kol avodah v'chayav le'eh b'chutz shchet hazriga in kabbalah halacha loy. The Gemara asks if the verse is referring only to actions similar to the detail, not all of the essential rites are necessarily included. Perhaps it should be derived that just as the mentioned detail, slaughter, is defined as an essential rite, and one is liable to be punished with death at the hand of heaven for performing it outside of the temple, so too any essential rite for which one is liable to be punished with death at the hand of heaven for performing it outside the temple is included in the verse. Accordingly, slaughter and sprinkling the blood are included, but collection of the blood and conveying it are not. Hinami, alternatively, ma haprat miforash davar ta'un safun v'yeshnu mechados hapnimios af kol ta'un safun v'yeshnu mechados hapnimios shchita v'chavala in zrikalo. Alternatively, it could be derived that just as the item mentioned in the details clearly defined as an action that requires performance in the north of the temple courtyard and is performed in sacrifice of inner sin offerings, so too any rite that requires performance in the north and is performed in the sacrifice of inner sin offerings is included in the halacha. Accordingly, slaughter and collection are included, sprinkling the blood is not. Ikalamei marhachi v'ikalamei marhachi shekolu nehein v'yavo shnein lishnachrina chada chada Taiku v'milsa. This is where it is, the Taiku, the 213 Taiku. It's not actually a Taiku. You'll see what it is. The Gemara answers both possibilities are equally valid. This derivation can be said, and that derivation can be said. Either collection or sprinkling might be included in the halacha. Consequently, they're equal. Collection of the blood and sprinkling are equal, and therefore they are both included. Or according to another version of the Gemara's answer, they're equal. And therefore, let each one, both collection and sprinkling, stand in its status. Taiku b'milsa. It's not an unanswered question. It's making a statement. Let the blood and the sprinkling stand in its status. The collection of the blood and the sprinkling are in the same. Let them stay in the same status. I can't do my regular. We have to wait for the Messiah to come. 213. This will go down in the books. Wow. I had to discuss this with somebody someday. This is not an actual Taiku. Taiku b'milsa. Wow. Zevachim 4b. Taiku 213. This is one for the books.